The corner store rests in a hush. The stillness of a Tuesday afternoon in South Loop, Chicago, feels almost palpable. In an instant, a sharp crack reverberates through the atmosphere. Officer Darren Keene forcefully propels Emilio Ortega, the 62-year-old proprietor of the shop, face-first into the cold metal of the freezer door. The force reverberates through the metal structure, toppling a neatly arranged shelf of paper towels and eliciting a startled gasp from a young customer lingering at the rear. "Do you believe you possess greater intelligence than those around you? No one dares to refuse me," Keene growls. His breath carries the lingering scent of old gum, mingling with an air of unrestrained authority. His fists are clenched, his visage turned crimson, and there isn't a body cam to be found. Merely a skewed emblem, loosely fastened, accompanied by the grin of a hunter. Emilio coughs, bracing himself against the frigid door, blood staining the handle. His face flushes with color, yet his voice remains steady and deliberate. "I've already told you," he says. "Welcome to my store. Would you like to take a closer look at it? Present a warrant, secure the services of an attorney, or seek out a new opportunity?" Keene growls, a figure unaccustomed to defiance. From aisle 3, Jason Statham observes in silence. Clad in a faded hoodie, tattered jeans, and well-loved sneakers, he slipped into the store to fetch a bottle of water following a subdued charity event. Without a retinue, neglect. Yet now his gaze is fixed. Keene takes a step back and sends Emilio's dolly cart tumbling, the very one he relies on daily to transport crates. Metal contorts, plastic fractures. Emilio recoils. "You'll pay one way or another, old man," Keene snaps, drawing a baton from his belt and twirling it like a promise. Jason's fingers curl possessively around the bottle. His breath becomes more measured. He places the water gently on the shelf beside him. His position alters, those eyes of his, now as sharp as a razor, performing calculations. The tempest is on the verge of encountering its reckoning. Certain individuals don a badge as a testament to their commitment to service. Some don it as a barrier concealing their true selves. Before we move forward, be sure to like and subscribe to witness Jason Statham's thrilling showdown with the corrupt cop, and let us know where you're tuning in from today. Nestled between a laundromat and a bus stop, the store occupies a serene spot on a tranquil block in Chicago's South Loop. A modest, self-sufficient grocery store operated by a man who holds a steadfast belief in the importance of community. Within, the walls bear the weight of time, adorned with weathered posters of local soccer teams, inscribed by the hands of children who now return only to share the experience with their own offspring. The fluorescent lights above flicker intermittently, casting a hesitant glow upon the time-worn tiles below. A pair of humming freezers stands against the back wall, filled with sodas, ice cream, and frozen dumplings. The aisles are tight. The air carries a subtle blend of dried herbs and motor oil, and every weekend, Emilio diligently repairs his own delivery dolly. Yet today, an unsettling tension hums in the atmosphere, an unwelcome presence. Officer Darren Keene towers at 6 feet 2 inches, his robust frame suggesting strength and resilience. In his mid-40s, he sports buzzed gray-blonde hair, and his jawline is as solid as a concrete block. His uniform hangs loosely at the collar, a worn toothpick perched at the edge of his mouth, reminiscent of a lit fuse ready to spark. The emblem on his chest is askew, both in a literal sense and in a deeper, symbolic way. Inquire of anyone in the vicinity, and they will reveal the reality. Keene does not hold the title of a police officer. He is a connoisseur of collections. He operates a compliance enforcement scheme alongside 2 fellow officers from the 11th Precinct. They focus on corner stores, small mechanics, and bakeries, individuals unaccompanied by corporate attorneys. $500 a month secures tranquility. Those who invest gain the privilege to control. Those who refrain, they endure unexpected inspections, nocturnal acts of vandalism, and citations that seem to disappear only after the ink dries on blank checks. Keene's body cam is perpetually undergoing maintenance. The logbook gleams with pristine clarity. What of his reputation? Beyond the reach of the system, up to this moment, Emilio Ortega, a 62-year-old retired welder, embarked on a new chapter 8 years ago when he opened the store following the passing of his wife. Since that moment, he has invested every cent and every ounce of passion into transforming it into something beyond a mere grocery destination. He embodies the spirit of a bygone era, diligently affixing neighborhood flyers to the window while effortlessly recalling the names of each grandchild who enters, clutching a dollar bill and a yearning for sour candy. Yet he carries a sense of pride. Today signifies his fourth rejection of Keen's monthly payment demand. "This is my store," he had informed Keen earlier this month. "If you wish for it to be silenced, come prepared. Otherwise, take your fabrications and depart with your menaces." Keen received that poorly. He simply does not. Jason Statham harbored no desire to become entangled in the situation. He had just concluded a serene charity event in the vicinity. Absolutely no cameras allowed. There was no red carpet to be found. Merely signing checks and exchanging handshakes with seasoned veterans and local coaches. He strolled in, clad in a worn hoodie, loose-fitting jeans, and scuffed gray sneakers. Unshorn, gaze lowered, striving to remain unseen. It was the sight of black leather boots in the cereal aisle that drew his attention to the underlying tension. Boots gleaming with an immaculate shine, far too pristine for the early hours of a local shop. Then arrived the push. The sharp clang of Emilio's head striking the freezer door echoed through the silence. Jason caught the sound drifting across the aisle, cutting through the hum of the lights and the melodic chime of the store's door sensor. He stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief. Not in trepidation, but in clarity. Jason's gaze tracked the baton as it slipped from Keen's belt. He observed the officer's posture keenly. Untrained, unrestrained, simply a tyrant granted authority by the state. He turned his gaze to Emilio, who, in spite of the blood staining his lip, maintained an upright posture. Keen remained the focus of an unwavering gaze. That sufficed. Jason returned the bottle of water to its place on the shelf. One foot crept forward by half an inch. His stance shifted, chin lowered just a touch, and his hands? Unfettered, relaxed, poised. This transcended the mere element of water. It revolved around the question of who has the authority to assume a divine role within another's domain. Keen's breath came in quick, jagged gasps, reminiscent of a wolf that had unexpectedly found its prey fighting back. His boots crunched over the scattered grains of rice from a torn bag, and he advanced on Emilio, fury seeping into every action. "I am the law here," Keen growled, his voice reverberating against the linoleum and the cold, metallic freezer doors. "Do you really believe that badge on the door offers you any protection? It is a sticker. When you tamper with the true order, prepare to face the consequences." The badge he mentioned was Emilio's vintage Chicago Chamber of Commerce certification sticker, weathered and sun-bleached, yet still adhering to the glass with a stubborn tenacity. Once, that sticker had filled Emilio with pride. At this moment, it held no significance. Emilio remained unperturbed, despite the blood seeping from the corner of his mouth, and the way Keen's baton hung threateningly from his hand. Emilio met his gaze with weary, furious eyes. "You fracture bones to feel powerful," he murmured. "The insignia upon your chest is less significant than you might believe." The words struck with an intensity that was unforeseen. Keen growled, saliva spraying from his lips. Witty tongue, "We shall observe the duration of your persistence." In the shadowy aisle behind the drink cooler, a teenage boy with vibrant green hair emerged, his phone held upright, capturing the moment in hushed silence. His hands quivered with uncertainty. He lacked the courage to intervene, yet he found the audacity to share it. By the checkout counter, an elderly woman with a cart brimming with bread and eggs averted her gaze. With her head bowed, she clutched her receipt and hurried away. A man lingered by the frozen goods, his hand grasping a tub of yogurt. He hesitated for a moment before continuing his search through the aisles. The timidity lingered in silence, subdued, a silence that allows individuals like Keen to persist in their pursuits. Jason held no resentment towards them, yet he remained distinctly separate from their ranks. He adjusted his foot ever so slightly, the rubber sole gliding softly against the floor. His weight fluctuated, in perfect alignment, prepared. His gaze followed every movement. Keen's posture, the inclination of the baton, the alignment of Emilio's spine pressed against the freezer door. One of Jason's hands lay nonchalantly beside a metal-produced crate. The blade's edge appeared keen and unforgiving. What about his other hand? Uncomfortably near the yellow mop stand by the shelf, it leaned there, abandoned and watchful, like a sentinel left to its own devices. He remained utterly still, his gaze unwavering. Keen seized Emilio by the collar, almost hoisting him off the ground. It is time to gather the tacks through the more challenging route. He let out a sharp hiss. The baton rose gradually, as if it were familiar with this dance. Jason's voice cut through the tension with the precision of steel slipping from its sheath. Set it aside. A moment of stillness. Frigid. Concluding, or I set you aside. Keen paused for a brief moment, in the span of a fleeting heartbeat. Then she turned. Derisive laughter. Who are they and why? He left it incomplete. Jason was in motion. The gentle patter of water against the tile served as the sole herald of what was to come. A bottle teetered and then fell, spilling its contents. A mop tumbled to the ground with a clatter. And then chaos transformed the very essence of that store. Keen's baton sliced through the air with ferocious velocity, a streak aimed squarely at Jason's head. Yet, Jason Statham was well acquainted with reckless individuals wielding weapons. He turned with precision, mere inches from the center line, allowing the baton to glide harmlessly past his cheek. With a swift movement, his hand shot toward the shelf. It glided with meticulous accuracy, his fingers wrapping around the chilled surface of a family-sized soup can. A heartbeat later, the can collided violently with Keen's forearm, producing a jarring crack that echoed in the air. Keen emitted a low grunt. His baton fell with a sharp clatter to the floor. Before he could fully grasp the intensity of the pain, Jason's elbow shot upward, striking Keen squarely beneath the chin. The force propelled him off his feet, sending him reeling backward into a shelf brimming with instant noodles. The shelf trembled yet remained steadfast. Keen was not defeated, yet he felt a sense of unease. He let out a guttural snarl, reminiscent of a wounded beast, and lunged forward once more, barreling toward Jason with unrestrained fury. Neutral position. No training has been conducted. Simply sheer strength. Jason retreated swiftly, one foot slipping on a slick patch of water left by a shattered bottle. His fingers grazed a long, wooden object, the mop handle glossy with remnants of cleaning fluid. In a swift motion, he seized it, twirled it with finesse, and deftly knocked Keen off his feet. Keen's boots ascended from the earth. His whole form twisted to the side. Shatter. His skull collided forcefully with the freezer door that loomed behind him. The plexiglass fractured into a web of cracks, and the tremor caused 3 gallons of milk to cascade to the floor, exploding like soft white grenades. Jason refused to allow him any respite. With a swift motion, he turned the mop handle around and drove the butt end into Keen's ribs. Twice, with a swift and graceful motion, he arched the shaft over Keen's chest, pinning him against the deli counter, employing his own weight as a powerful advantage. Keen's boots skidded across the floor, his hands grasping desperately at the pole that pressed into his neck. "Stay down," Jason hissed, his voice chilling like the freezer that loomed behind them. Yet Keen lacked the wisdom to walk away. With a sudden elbow thrust, he broke free, twisting wildly before unleashing a powerful punch. Unsteady and careless, yet directed squarely at Jason's head. Jason evaded it effortlessly. With a seamless grace, he propelled a 20-pound bag of rice from the ground, striking Keen's shin with a sharp thud. The bag collided with unyielding bone. Keen let out a pained howl, collapsing sideways as he clutched his leg with one hand. Jason's gaze darted skyward. The metal milk crate perched atop the counter, lightweight yet resilient. With a swift motion, he seized it in one hand, positioned it like a hammer, and brought it crashing down onto Keen's upper back. The crate buckled under the force of the impact. Keen fell forward onto his hands, gasping for breath. His breath escaped in uneven gasps. Gasps echoed from the customers hidden behind the aisles. The teenager, phone in hand, continued to record, his mouth agape in astonishment. Jason set the crate down next to Keen's sprawled form and let out a slow, measured breath. The true reckoning had yet to begin. Keen emitted a primal growl, sinking his teeth fiercely into Jason's shoulder, driven by desperation and a fraying sanity. Jason let out a low grunt, yet he stood his ground. With a measured intensity, he drove his elbow backward, striking Keen sharply on the temple. Yet Keen was a force, untamed and relentless, continuing to unleash blows even as his footing faltered. A single haymaker whistled by, narrowly missing Jason's jaw. The second, broader and more chaotic, rushed forward with force. Jason crouched down, evading the impending danger. His boots slipped on the glossy puddle of milk that spread across the linoleum floor, propelling his body forward with an unexpected force. Yet he made use of it. With a forceful impact, Jason's left shoulder collided with Keen's ribs, transforming what initially appeared to be a mere slip into a deliberate act of brute strength. The impact left the corrupt cop gasping for breath. His back collided with the candy rack, launching chocolate bars and gum packets into the air like a shower of confetti. A Snickers bar thudded against Keen's chest. Jason loomed above him, his breath now calm and measured, every action purposeful. With each inhalation, time slipped away. Keen took one final swing, filled with desperation and a lack of clarity. Jason seized the arm with precision, twisting it into a lock as he moved with the calculated grace of a machine resetting its lethal program. In a swift, ruthless motion, he ripped the badge chain from Keen's chest. The badge fell to the ground, producing a sharp metallic clink. Jason moved without a moment's pause. He wound the chain around Keen's thrashing arm, once, twice, then drew it behind his neck like a noose. His knee pressed firmly against Keen's spine, constricting him into unconsciousness with the very emblem of authority he had so ruthlessly misused. Keen inhaled sharply, struggled, raked through the atmosphere. Jason leaned down, his voice sharp and grating, reminiscent of steel against glass. You donned that badge as if it were a weapon. Now experience the true essence of justice. Keen's hands fell to his sides. His eyes fluttered shut, retreating into the depths of his mind. Jason let the chain fall away. Keen collapsed onto the ground, unconscious, gasping for breath, completely shattered. His boots danced restlessly upon the floor tiles, one hand pinned awkwardly beneath him. The store lay in a profound silence. The solitary sound was the low hum of the flickering fluorescent light, accompanied by the soft hiss of milk cascading down the freezer shelves. Jason surveyed the wreckage with a steady gaze before gracefully bending down to retrieve his untouched bottle of water. He twisted off the cap and savored a solitary sip. Justice served with an icy resolve. The stillness within the store was palpable, as if the very air had been rendered breathless, a heavy hush enveloping the space. The young man by the drinks aisle, phone still held aloft, murmured quietly to himself, "Holy, that's Jason Statham." His voice was a whisper, yet it pierced the silence, shattering the tension like a pin pricking a balloon. Soft murmurs trailed behind, filled with disbelief. Another customer, feigning interest in the array of hot sauce, delicately returned the jar to its place on the shelf. Amidst the chaos of destruction, Jason found himself standing alone. The freezer door gaped open, candy scattered like confetti, and rice erupted in a chaotic spread across the floor. Keen lay crumpled at his feet, the badge chain still entwined around his lifeless arm. Close to the counter, Emilio Ortega fought to maintain an upright posture. A thin stream of blood coursed from his temple, yet his spine held steadfast and straight. He gazed at Jason as if he had just encountered a phenomenon that straddled the line between the miraculous and the tempestuous. Jason knelt beside him, his voice a calm whisper, unwavering. "Are you all right, sir?" Emilio blinked, then offered a deliberate nod. "In all my experiences within the city, I have yet to encounter anything quite like that." A familiar figure, a bearded man adorned with tattoos that danced across both arms, stepped forward and assisted Emilio in rising to his feet. Another gently gathered the remnants of the shattered dolly, what remained of it, and propped it upright against the wall. Jason chose not to linger and bask in the gratitude. He snatched a napkin from the countertop, silently cleaning the blood and sweat from his knuckles. No triumphant stance. No explanation is provided. A solitary figure completing a task that demanded attention. He faced the exit, yet before stepping out he hesitated. Gazing down at Keen's motionless form, his badge swaying aimlessly like a discarded symbol, Jason raised his voice, ensuring that every soul in the store could hear him. You were not merely taking money. You were robbing someone of their dignity. The words fell flat, failing to resonate within the confines of the room. It etched itself into their very beings. Jason stepped into the embrace of the Chicago sun, leaving the past behind without a single backward glance. The store doors whispered closed behind him, sealing off a moment that would linger in the minds of those within, not due to witnessing violence. Yet, for the first time, they witnessed the true visage of justice, clad in worn denim, and departs without seeking recognition. As the evening sun sank below the horizon, casting its warm glow over the skyline, the grainy vertical clip had swiftly made its way around the world. Title: Jason Statham unleashes fury on corrupt officer within local shop. Perspectives: 15 million within the span of a single day. Ascending rapidly. The video, unsteady yet clear, recorded it all. The forceful push into the icy confines of the freezer. The soup has the power to surprise. The grip of the mop handle constricted. The last murmur lingered above the motionless form of the fallen officer. Everything was presented with utmost sincerity. It appeared almost unnaturally exact, as if it defied the very essence of reality. The hashtags spread rapidly, igniting interest everywhere. Justice has been served, hashtag style. Jason stands against corruption. Badge breaker of hashtags. Hashtag soup can clash. Clips started to emerge featuring detailed breakdowns, detailed examinations, one frame at a time. The technique received accolades from martial artists. Legal commentators offered their insights on the ethical implications. The comments section. That was a battlefield of reverence. He didn't violate the law, he refined it. This individual single-handedly subdued an entire precinct with a single maneuver. The can of soup. More lethal than the majority of MMA competitors. Jason Statham has now taken on the role of the auditor of justice. This is the reason we can forego capes. We require individuals of that caliber. A viral meme captured Jason in the midst of his swing with the can, accompanied by the straightforward label, Government Accountability, and the container. Aisle 4. The news outlets seized upon it with remarkable swiftness. Local stations broadcasted the security footage. The national cable broadcast it repeatedly. The New York Times published a provocative editorial entitled, "What Happens When Justice Isn't Wearing a Badge?" Legal experts engaged in a spirited debate over the justification of Jason's actions. Yet, the judgment of the public had already been rendered. Under increasing pressure, the Chicago Police Department found itself compelled to take action. Their statement emerged with an air of rigidity and formality. Officer Darren Keen has been suspended immediately while a comprehensive internal investigation is conducted. No charges will be brought against Jason Statham, it was also stated. Testimonies from witnesses and security footage corroborate that he acted to protect another civilian. The clip only gained more traction as a result. In the arena of public sentiment, this was far more than a mere altercation. A moment of reckoning had arrived. Jason remained silent, never issuing a statement. He remained silent, never sharing a single word. He was under no obligation to do so. The legend had already been inscribed by the world for him. As dawn broke, well ahead of the city's awakening, Emilio gently turned the key in the lock of his shop's front gate, the sound a soft, solitary click in the stillness. The bruises pulsed painfully against his ribs, and his lip bore the jagged mark of last night's altercation. Yet what of his spine? More aligned than ever. He emerged onto the sidewalk, ready to sweep the front step. Consistent, soothing. Yet today, an unexpected presence awaited him. There, propped against the wall as if waiting for a familiar embrace, was his dolly cart. Unlike the one that had been crushed beneath a cop's boot just a day prior, this one had been meticulously welded back together, now more resilient than ever. The wheels glided effortlessly, the foundation strengthened with newly forged metal. It was evident that someone had dedicated their efforts to restore it. Emilio knelt beside it, examining the repair with a keen eye. His hand glided over the handle, pausing abruptly as a chill coursed through him. A police badge was secured tightly to the grip with a zip tie. The badge of Keen. No note. There is no card available. There is no signature. Only the unyielding edge of responsibility remained precisely in its rightful place. Emilio gazed at it, lost in thought for what felt like an eternity, then offered a subtle, understanding smile. In a shadowy precinct surveillance room across town, an entirely different scenario was unfolding. A sizable screen displayed a hazy video, a still image captured in a moment of raw intensity. Jason Statham, captured in the act, propelling Keen towards a towering array of cereal boxes. The timestamp flickered. A gradual zoom inched closer to Jason's face. A hoodie drapes casually over a sharp jawline, concealing a simmering, controlled rage beneath the surface. As the operator focused intently, another officer emerged into view. In the twilight of one's 30s, the tactical vest remains donned. With arms crossed, he gestured toward the screen. There he is, he stated without inflection. The individual who brought Keen to his knees. A hush enveloped the room. The footage began to replay. Beyond the glass, the vibrant pulse of Chicago thrummed on. The concluding line resonated softly, a gentle murmur echoing in the consciousness of each viewer, the narrator's voice serene and subdued. He refrained from seeking vengeance. He battled for stillness, the kind that pursues true justice.